by AMP Studios in front of a live studio audience. Featuring in-depth training and the latest Alliance news. Now let's hear it for your host, our President and CEO, Andy Albright.
Grab a seat. Oh, God. Woo! Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Tell us about it.
Have y'all seen the application count going up? Ding! That shouldn't bother me like it does. You know what I mean? I don't know if I feel like psychologically I should be that happy regardless. But it just does. You know what I'm saying? Are y'all the same way with your bank account? When it just money goes there, you go, yes!
That's right.
Right when you get a check, you see that money go in there. And then some church talk about, money don't make you happy. Like what? What is wrong with these people that say that? Do they not have any? Have they never got any? Do they not know what to do with it?
That's what their mama told them.
Their mama done told them that. Their mama done told them it ain't good. God, that's a bad mama. That's bad parenting.
That's right.
The Alliance, if you're brand new, welcome. If you've been with us a while, welcome. We're going to the top. We take it over. We about to make history. We're going down in books, baby. They're getting ready to write stories about this stuff. It's just really getting crazy. It's really getting crazy. I'm so excited for y'all. I was talking to, Melanie Ray, Chadwick Melanie. And I was telling him, I said, do you understand what's happening, the way the business is growing right now? We've done this before. It ain't my first rodeo. You with me? I'm not crazy. In my job one time, I got a 13% raise. And I remember, I'm still excited about it. And I was like 26 or 27 years old. I got a 13% raise. And when I said, oh my God! You know what I'm saying? I was like, does this happen to people? You know? And now we see people doubling and tripling their money. But I was telling Chadwick and Melanie, watch this. You got to think about it like this. Let me see where I can write. Billy, normally, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, buddy. See, here's the way it looks. They've got bills that high, and then they've got money coming in. This money coming in that high. So that's the money that they get to spend because this gets canceled out, right? Well, watch what happens when you see this much, whatever this much is. If you just go up that much, look what happened to your income. It's 2x. See, if this is 50% of your income and this is only 50%, and then you make 50% more, it's really only a 25% increase, but you doubled your money.
That's right.
And you can feel it, dude. I was telling them, you can really see this. But people don't understand. So what they do is they keep it right here and they just don't go up because they don't want to go through the effort. Because whenever the laws of things being static or power, you have to put more pressure on it. Whatever's holding you down, you have to put more pressure to go up. And it usually takes a lot of money and energy and effort. That's just a law of it's not thermodynamics, but it's one of those engineering. What is the engineering law? You don't know that one? Law of conservation. That might be one of them. But it's just a you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. So crazy stuff is happening. Mia, hey girl, come up here. Introduce yourself to these people. Tell them who you are. Did you wear your flats today?
I did.
Thank you.
I'm usually towering over
Thank
Andy.
you. I feel so my self-image so much better when you wear your flats.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mia Fennell. I came through Terry and Tia Edwards, and I live in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Queen City.
Queen City, hey.
I heard you're going to be traveling with us.
I am. I freaked out, Andy. I almost threw up. I'm sorry. I was so excited.
What's going to happen? Tell them what you're going to do.
So I'm going on Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yep. We're taking the jet down to Georgia.
Duluth, Georgia.
Duluth, Georgia. So this was actually one of my goals that I put on my card.
That's what it works.
And it worked. In my second month, I officially hit my month 2 tomorrow.
Tell them how long you got started. How long you been with us, and what else happened in your business.
So I got started in the middle of April. Well, I wrote my first policy at the end of April. And let's see, I did 7,000 issue paid last month. Yeah, and then I think 10
Do you know how much you
people.
did in March? Have any idea?
That was last month. Yeah.
I think it was.
Aren't
we in June? May.
Oh, in May.
Yeah.
Yeah, March I wasn't. Yeah, 10,000 in May issue paid.
Okay, so March 7,000, May 10,000.
Yeah.
And see, you're going to find brand new people that do that. Now, do you have a full-time job, or were you doing this?
No, I actually was laid off from my full-time job.
Was you laid off before you found us?
I was laid off the week I found you guys.
Okay.
So.
have you considered getting another job?
Oh, sorry. Consider, yeah, the devil was talking to me get a job, but no, Andy, I don't have time to get a job. I'm riding on a jet on Tuesday. Who has time for a job?
Schedule. Okay, well, here's what I want to see you putting your name up there, but I'm going to let you put Mac Judy has already won a trip to Paris. Here we are in June, not even halfway through the year. Shannon Barnhart and Brant Swindale have already won trips. So we got... You put those stickies up. Thank you very much. You can put them wherever you want to. That's just where Angela Clark chose to put them.
Okay.
You can do it. You can make it decorative like that. Oh, God. All right, leaderboards. We have some drama going on here. What do y'all want to see first, recruiting or sales? Recruiting. Riddle is making moves. Check him out. Riddle has moved up to 17, a commanding lead. Look at this. 33 direct recruits, 7 of them, and he's moved 4 people over into the third issue paid column. So he's still missing over here, but because of his commanding lead here of 17 personals, he is 6 above Mike and Noel Leventovich. This is for $20,000. Cash, baby. Woo! Kyle Cater, I think he moved up. He's at 9, 2 behind, so we go 6 behind, 2 behind, 2 behind, and then it starts getting jammed up. Chris Robinson, there's 3 7s, and Chris is smoking in this column with 5, 6, and 3. Look how much bigger he is than anybody else over here, 5, 6, and 3. So if he moves up there, that's going to be incredible. Owens is tight in tight. Look, Owens not doing bad. 4, 2, 2, and then look at all the 6s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 6s in a row. That takes us all the way down. By the way, this goes all the way down to 10 grand. So A-Bear has got the money above Steve Moore. Steve Moore, from here to here, this much, Steve Moore. Look at me, Steve Moore. This much. This much, Steve. And you get $5,000. You're paid $5,000 for that much movement. See, that goes back to that income analogy I was making. If you'll just do this, it feels bigger than you realize. It's simple math. Okay, Steve Moore, let's go on down here. Let's see the top 33. Jacob Kern, and Kelly, Adam Johnson, Chris Long, Michelle Alleman. Whoa, 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 whoa. This is big right here. All right. Michelle Alleman, they are number two in the leaderboard for sales over there. By the way, I just told you something, didn't I? No. She's number 2 in sales. So getting this 15 up just over 10 gives them $5,000. So if he goes from number 15 to number 10, he gets $5,000. And if she goes back from number 2 to number 1, that pops her in for another $5,000. So they got $10,000 on the line. I'm not saying they got to work through the end of the month, but I'm saying there's $10,000 on the line just to work through it. Chris Long, and then who's this other one? Adam Johnson. Adam at 13, he is also at number 12. So Adam, you get up into number 10, you pick up $5,000. You get up into 10, you get $5,000. So Adam Johnson has $10,000 riding on just a tiny bit of movement. Anytime I go into a town, when I go down to Duluth, Georgia next week, I just want everybody to move that much. You imagine if everybody moves that much. That's called just an army right there taking over. Henry Borland, Michael Frederick, Peter. I want you to know this guy was not on the leaderboard at all. He had 0 last week. He just got started. I think, when did he contract? Y'all know? ABTF. Hello, ABTF.
May.
No ABTFs in here? May? He contracted in May. And now he's up here at number 18 in the company. Not a bad program. That's getting wide. Look, he's 12 wide in contracted agents, and 5 of them have issue paid business. They tell me there's 5 more that have issue business and it just hadn't completely hit. It ain't showed up on the report. So if that's the case, he is going to move all the way up. He's going to move up a lot. Steve Thompson, Adam Katz, Marcus Richardson, Michael Paleo, Terry Edwards right over there, Kimberly Spinelli Young, Mark Hutchinson, Brandon Beal, Paul Roberts, Stephen Davies at number 4. Look at these threes. Look at his threes. See, it's jammed up at the bottom. Kerry Williams and the ends here at Brant Swindell, and George Wilson, George and Penny Wilson. So right there is where it ends. Diane Lampe, George Wilson, Brant Swindell. Marty Doge, 1 more up and you're in the money. Chadwick Ray, but look at all those threes. So look, 4 threes are above the line because they're getting people moving 3, 5, 6, 8 policies. Okay. All right. Oh, who else we got? Marcus Richardson is... Go back a little bit, Billy. He is number 16. He's number 21 here. He is number 16. Number 16 in sales. So he could move up and make more money. Kimberly Young, she's 19 in sales and 24 in recruiting. And Mark Hutchinson, one more down here. Mark Hutchinson is number 9. So Mark Hutchinson with 4, if he could get up here into the 10, you got to get into 10 to get the bonus money. All right. Okay, money. Let's go to the money one, Billy. Because we have a new leader in town. Okay. Swindell, if you'll notice, he hasn't sold as much insurance as Michelle. Okay? But you count, he's written 4, issue paid 4 annuities for another 15,000 points, which puts him ahead of her by $400 less than 1 sale. And the difference between here to here is $5,000. So this is $20,000. This is $15,000. Sarge, look how close it is between Sarge and Bill Cook. $150 difference between. That's what it's going to come down to, and we're going. It's just that's the way Olympics work out. Whoever wins wins, right? That's right. Big drop here goes down to number 4, James Coleman. Or number 5, James Coleman. Debbie Ben, back up in there strong with 57,000. Scroll down. Caleb Law. Caleb moved up a lot. Tim Tipton. Remember when Tim Tipton was down there about 33 or 34, and he just needed to get his app count up just a little bit because then he got more credit. Let's see if he's got all his credit over here. Yep, he's got all of his credit, and he has 3 more annuities. So Tim Tipton moved up into the top 10 for an extra $5,000 for whatever he did. Oh, by the way, Tim, I promised you another product. We got it. It'll be coming July 1. You'll be able to write it, man. I'm so excited for you. Everybody's getting it, but Tim Tipton needs to know that he's one that he knows a little bit more about it, because he's going to write like crazy. And it's in all states. Junior Correa, Adam Johnson, Shannon Barnhart. Let's see. Vanessa Dellery, Kerry Williams, Marcus Richardson. Marcus, what was Marcus at? Where was he at? Another one? Number 21. So he's 16 over there, and he's 21 here. Kerry Williams is number 30 and number 15. Ain't it interesting to see this? I like it when these people say, I'm focused on recruiting. And then you got somebody that's whipping your butt in recruiting and selling. I almost want to, no, I'm going to say it. What are you focused on? Because it's not recruiting. So I'm doing more recruiting than I am selling. Okay, you can say that. But don't tell me you're focused on it when somebody's beating you in it and beating you in something else. Like you're focusing on learning how to play the piano or something. You're focusing on YouTube videos or something. You're focusing on something. You ain't focusing on that mathematically makes sense. I mean, these guys, they can't be beating you in 2 subjects and you tell me you're focusing on one of them. You said maybe I'm just not as talented or not as skilled as they are. Could be. I don't know. I'm going to go with that if that's what you want to go with. But I'm going, don't tell me that. Tell me that you need to get better. How about that? Instead of saying I'm focusing on recruiting when you're getting spanked in 2 sides, how about saying things like, how do I get better? How do I do it differently? How do I improve? Okay. All right. Minerva Profil, thank you, Billy. Katrina Gustin, Kimberly Spinella Young, Glenn Lamb, Doug Becker, George Andershock, Jessica Phillips, Mac Judy, already just won that trip, David Lewis, Eric Belair, Justin Balick, Michael Owens, Paul Menachino, Danny Johnson, Mickey Cruz, Lisa Line, Jared Gonzalez. Tuesday we had 4 people that have started this year. Actually, I think all of them started in March, and they've all written over 20,000 in a month. That's right. Already had a month of over 20,000. She's one of them. Who were they? There was Tina, Jera, Peter, the Peter guy that we had up here, and Anthony Diaz. I don't know Tina's last name. I need that. She's done it. Scroll down a little bit more. Let's see who barely missed it. Mike Rodriguez right there on the line, baby. Come on, Mike. Just a little bit more. Kozak, Ebanks, Megan Alleman, Zach Wright, Adcock, Matt Goodrich, Janina, Pam Moore. There goes Terry Edwards right there. 29,000. All right. You got more coming? Okay. All right. We're going to give away some money at Family Reunion. By the way, if Family Reunion tickets are sold out at $1,800, okay, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to just level you. It's sold out at $1,800. Here's the deal, though. We're opening it back up, and if you buy a ticket, it's going to be a backup, like an overflow room is where we're going to have you. You're not going to be able to get in the main room, except for one thing. Some of the 1,800 are not up to date on their payments, and they're going to drop out. And when they drop out, if you're 1,801, you're going to get a ticket. If you're 1,803 and 3 people drop out, you're going to get a ticket. People say, why would they drop it? I don't know. I mean, the people killed themselves last week, didn't he? What was their names? Yeah. That the pocketbook lady, Kate, and another guy. I don't know why they did it. I ain't no psychologist, psychiatrist. I don't know. I don't know why people don't get their tickets. But to me, that's about as crazy if you let your ticket drop out. You know, I'm going like, come on, seriously? This is a chance to change your life. But so we got 1,800 filled up. When they drop out and go out of it, the other people are going to go in. So if you hadn't got your ticket yet, we're going to open it back up. Just know you're buying, if you buy one of these tickets, you're buying an overflow ticket with a good shot that you'll be able to get in. Does that make sense? If you don't buy a ticket, you ain't getting in. For sure. 100% you ain't coming if you don't get a ticket. So if you say, I got 10 more people, get them to get their ticket now so they'll be the first ones that are going to get moved into the slot. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. don't forget, CFG is bringing $10,000, and we're going to draw your name out. 10 people going to win $1,000. All you got to have is $10,000 issue paid before not before family reunion. You've got to get it issue paid before the end of June. So take a look and see where you are with CFG or with Foresters, and make sure you get at least $10,000 issue paid, because both of those companies are bringing $10,000 cash, and we're going to have a drawing for everybody. And all these people in the top 33 are not competing with you. They're out of your competition. If they win in either category, they're out of the competition. So it's very few people in the bowl that we draw the names out. So it's good odds. All right. We got more Jeff Bright. Yeah. Give him a hand, Jeff Bright. Jeff Bright has been working with us now. Is it 7 years, Jeff?
I came October 2010.
2010, so almost 8 years.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah.
And where did you go to school?
My undergraduate was Wingate.
Undergraduate at Wingate. That's where Adam Cass's daughter just... There she is. Hey,
That's right. That's why she chose to go there, right?
Did you know that? Did you know you went to Wingate?
Mm-hmm. We had conversations about it.
Come over here. Come over here, Wingate. Hey, buddy.
Hi.
Come here. Turn around here. So he went to Wingate. Great. What'd you get? Further studies. Where else you go?
I went to UNC Greensboro. I got 2 masters from there.
2 masters in, what are they in?
Education and then sociology.
Okay. So he's been working here almost 8 years, and he put in 30 years at the community college where he was vice president, and he would come over. His job was to grow businesses all over. I won't say all over the world, because I know he did talks all over the world, but it was our county. It was all over Alamance County. He was supposed to go in and help these big textile manufacturing and other facilities grow their businesses to bring more money and taxes into the county, was what a big part of his job was, along with teaching kids. So he had a heck of a lot of experience. But I love when he started coming over here, because he started telling us those secrets. But it was kind of crazy, because he started staying here. I think he stayed here more than he was at the community college. But so we're working on a book together, and Jeff is doing we're working on what we call our values. So excellence, service, integrity, accountability, respect, compassion, and community. Community we're doing today. I think I should be able to see if that'll write. Maybe not. I should be able to write on it. So we're doing community today. Bill, you got any idea why I'm not able to write on that? What's that? It's not in the notes. Okay, thanks. We're putting this book together, so we're going to get into this community now and go through the whole thing. But I want to talk about our community. This is a result of our community. Yeah, that's right. Okay? So tell them like your progression as far as getting in university and where you are and what's been happening as far as your business that you're already building. Like, when did you get your license? When did you get in college? How long have you been in class?
So I got my license when I turned 18, December 26th. I studied all of Christmas Day because I had scheduled my test and I wasn't ready. And then I started at Wingate University two years ago. So I'll graduate in December after 2.5 years of school, because I went to an early college high school, so I had a lot of credits going in.
So it's a 4-year bad to the bone university that most people get out in about 5 years. And she's getting out in 2.5 years and selling insurance like crazy all the time she's in school. That she graduates, she won't have to get a job if she don't want to get a job. So tell how's
I don't want a real job.
How much are you writing? How much you wrote last week or week before last?
Last week I wrote my biggest policy ever. So it was one app for $2,300.
Has it got issue paid yet?
Not yet.
Fired up about that, ain't you?
Yes.
Good. Did you write any other apps last week?
No, just the one.
Just one big app?
Yep.
Okay. How is this month going? Is this all you've written this month, or have you written other apps this month?
This month, I think I'm at probably about 5,000.
5,000 premium. Good. Well, we are proud of you and what you're doing. Good job. I know Mom and Daddy are. She's a product.
Yeah. Well, she came to me and wanted to know where she should go to college, and I said I had a good time at Wingate. I mean, not too good a time. I'm trying. But I want to say about joining this community. 8 years ago, I didn't know what I was going to do when I retired, and I got a new president toward the tail end of my. I went through 4 presidents while I was at the college, and that last president, I didn't see eye to eye to him so much as I did the third one. The third one was my favorite. But I brought him over here and wanted to meet Andy. And this is when I had made the decision. I knew that I definitely was coming here when I retired because of what Andy said to him. Y'all want to hear what he said to him? Yeah. So they're sitting there.
This is the last one you went into.
That's right. So he comes in, and this guy's really an egomaniac, right? And it's all about him, and he doesn't give credit to any of his people. And so he comes in, he's going to ask for money from Andy, and he starts talking about what we've done for the Alliance because we did classes, and he kept taking credit that he basically did it. Like he taught the classes. I was the one teaching the classes. I'm the one that set it up. And he kept doing it, and Andy would interrupt him, but he would interrupt Andy back. And Andy said, ho, as you know Andy can do. Hold up. He said, I'm not in the Alamance Community College business. I'm in the Jeff Bright business. And that's when I knew. Remember that? He was ready to leave. I think that I took him, put him in the car, and drove him back to the college after that. He hadn't been back since, except he used the convention center.
I can't remember exactly. I think it was along the lines of, I'm a Jeff Bright fan, not an Alamance Community College fan.
Right.
No offense, but I'm a fan of Jeff Bright. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I've never experienced that kind of support. I mean, I was hanging out in a box over there. They had me tied up in a box, and I couldn't do what I do. It was just not a good existence. So this is a lot better existence for me now. I hate that I have to wait till I get in my 50s to start experiencing happiness at work. But, we all do what we do. We all got our journey. We all got where we came from. That's right. And we end up at a place that's right for all of us. And that's why I'm so passionate about comparing ACC to this place. I mean, it's not a comparison. There's no comparison. I was speaking to a bunch of people yesterday at an ACRA conference, and I just looking at them. I'm like, they're just dead on their feet. Because they're working in corporate America. And they're like, why are you so happy? I said, because I don't work in the corporate America anymore.
Y'all understand, he's talking about community. He's not off subject. He's talking about the community that he joined, the community that we are. Yeah. It's our culture. It's who we are.
Yep.
And these are the values that build up our culture. And one of our cultures is having a ridiculous community.
A lot of people don't have this as a value. I mean, I've never seen it as a value any other place I've gone to talk. Billy, can we go back one to that?
You can.
The one that's the house. Yeah, just before that. Yeah, I just want to say something, show people where we're at. Now we're talking about community today, right? But we talked about compassion last week. And I talked about the 3 types of love briefly, but I want you to see that really that first love, that love of attraction, the love of desire, you take that love and you pour it into excellence, and you will be excellent. But if you use the love, the agape love, which is more of a giving love, the soulmate love, if you use that, you will pull off compassion every time. But today we're talking about the third type of love, the philos love, which is a high degree of like And that's what we have to have with community, is that type of love. Liking each other creates community. Does that give you a framework? All right, so let's go to that recipe or blueprint for community. And there it is. Fellowship plus unity plus identity. And I mean, you guys probably don't notice the little things that get me excited, but this is the kind of thing that gets me excited because I pulled this off last night. In parentheses, I got words to explain each one. They all start with S. I know that's not a big deal to you. That's a big freaking deal to me. 'Cause I was sitting there going, Well, I was watching Bravo. All right. That's, it wasn't by choice. No, it wasn't Housewives. All right, so let's look at the definition for community. We'll come back to the formula each time. The next one is, community defined. Now, this is a weird way to do it, but I wanted to start off this way by letting you see the origin of the word. The definition is the area marked by the sentiment of common living. That's what the real definition of community is. So I underlined two words, sentiment and common living. So let's get, where does sentiment come into play? The old French interpretation of the word community, communauté, means public spirit. So that's our sentiment. You feel it when you come in our doors. We have that spirit, that public spirit that you catch, that you feel when you're in our presence, right? And then in Latin, communis means shared in common. Not only have a spirit, we share things in common. We may not look the same, we may not come from the same backgrounds, but we share something in common once we catch this thing called community. So we have a spirit and we share things in common, and that, I want you to see, comes from very old words. These are the kind of things that make me happy, okay? So you just have to humor me. When people in a group feel secure, trusted, and connected and consider themselves partners, that's the key word, that we're all partners in this thing together in creating an environment, that's when we have a high level of community. On the other hand, when people feel threatened, misled, and undervalued, my goodness, I felt these things where I used to work, especially in that last regime. You know, then I feel not what is called community. I feel the void of community. We call it society, because there's a huge energy drain when you feel these things. You're not able to live up to your potential because you're too worried about the threat or being misled or being undervalued. You lose all your energy. I was re-energized once I joined this community. I didn't know I had it still in me. It would have been sucked right out of me.
There's a Bible story, there's a story in the Bible about a guy building a wall. Nehemiah. And Nehemiah was up on the wall, and they were bothering him saying, "Come here to eat." He said, "I'm working." Okay? When we're working and people are trying to pull us down, undervalued, they were telling him to come down. If you ain't careful, you have to get a sword and try to build a mountain or build the wall and fight all, sword in one hand and what do you call it, a trowel, which is a thing you use to lay concrete. You got a trowel in this hand and you got a sword in this hand. And you talk about hard to get something done. That's what this is talking about right here when he says, people are going, "Yay, build a wall, let's do it, you can do it." Or they're going, "What are you doing? What's wrong with you?" And you're having to work and fight them off. So in a hot spot where everybody's cheering it on and we feel trusted and we feel like we can just turn our back because they're screaming and pulling for us, as opposed to having to look back and work. You get that? That's what we're seeing in the production and the numbers that are growing right crazy. We had 85 people in Greensboro last night that I did the presentation, and it was on fire. New people all over the place committed because you can feel that community that you guys have built in Greensboro.
It's a little short quote, but I have a longer quote that I like better, but I threw this up here because I'm toying with this. Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much, Helen Keller, which is a good little quote, but I like this one better from Fred Rogers.
Y'all know who Fred Rogers is?
Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Now listen, I learned community, and I learned a lot of values when I watched that show. It shaped and formed who I am today. That show did. I watched it every day on public television. How many of you watched that? And you know, you're looking back, you think it was a little hokey, a little nerdy. Yeah. He was an awesome individual. He said, love is at the root of everything. All learning, all relationships. He said, this theme he had, won't you be my neighbor? He said it was an invitation for somebody to be close to you. The greatest thing we can do is to help somebody know that they are loved and are capable of loving. I give an expression, he said, of care every day to each child to help him or her realize that he or she is unique. I end the program by saying, you've made this day a special day by just your being you. There's no person in the whole world like you, and I like you just the way you are. Now, I heard that every day. It started to sink in. I started to believe that, and it gave me value. It gave me worth. You know, and I think that was a great message. And, you know, that man was such a kind, gentle soul, wasn't he? But he was a cool dude also. He was real hip for his time. All right. Fellowship, first part of the recipe. And we're doing the recipe. So we're doing fellowship here. And so fellowship, there we go. The Greeks translated the word fellowship to mean essentially a partnership. There's that word again. To the mutual benefit of those involved. It is this partnership which serves as societal cement. I like that.
I'll get so you don't have to fight that camera right
right there, yeah. Ken, you doing all right?
Thank you. I stopped now that we've got it away from the camera.
Cement to the durable relationships formed with a solid social structure. You just think about a structure being like a frame, the footings, the framework of a house, the footings. This structure which holds the community cement is made up of the friendships formed, the philos love that I talked about, that high degree of like, and the connections established because we have relatability. We relate to each other. You know, because all our stories matter to each other. We're all in this fight together. No matter who we are, where we came from, we relate to each other. That's a big word for us, relatedness. That may be part of the secret sauce also that makes us different. Fellowship quote, Albert Einstein said, without the sense of fellowship with people of like mind, life would have seemed to me empty. You're an island to yourself if you don't embrace this thing called fellowship. Now, where does fellowship come from? It comes from association. And that's big in our business, big time. The act of consorting with or joining with others. There's a strong tendency in human character to assimilate itself to that of those with whom they're in contact with. There is also a tendency to imitate what we associate with. However, there's a strong probability that through association with virtuous people, the vicious will be in a degree be shamed out of their viciousness. Yeah, you know what? If you get a lot of good people together, the bad will feel a strong sense of guilt, and they will leave.
If you guys have ever heard us talk about, there was a time when our company wasn't as fun. There was more of them against us than there was with us. You with me? There was more against us. There were more idiots among us than there was friends among us. But the friends, we got tight. We formed a tight-knit group, and then we just started expanding the good people out, and we just blew them out. Does that make sense? And we just pushed them out so that the psychos. Now you say, well, do we still have some bad people? Yeah, we do. We got very few, but now we can watch them because there's not so many of them. Does that make sense? We can keep our eye on them. They may eventually leave or they may stay, but we got an eye on them. But what will happen is, because there's so few of them and so many of us, they try to conform. Does that make sense? Like, they try to be good people. Even though they're kind of psycho, they try to be good. How many of you pretty sure it's you that's the one that's bad? And you try to pretend like you're good so you fit in.
Been doing a good job, man.
We have good peer pressure now.
That's right.
That's what we have. I like this right here.
It's big. This
type,
is real and it's big.
This type of positive social arrangement, because that's what it is we have with each other. We have an arrangement with each other, an understanding that is creates an invitation of inclusiveness. Now think about that. Inclusiveness, which then bursts the act of collaboration. We can't practice collaboration until we practice inclusiveness. We have to include everybody. We have to reach out to the ones that are standing in a corner. And then and only then are we going to have true collaboration as a group, not in cliques. Because if you collaborate without inclusiveness, you got cliques. Association quote, Proverbs. I always try to put a Bible verse in there for Tim and Doc. Doc sends me one every day. He that walks with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. That's Proverbs 13:20.
I was thinking, Spencer, you know, when you were at the public school, by the way, Mr. Collard's principal, Callens, he was at the meeting last night, the principal of Western Alamance. He's retiring. But when my son's in the audience, when he was at Western Alamance, they had cliques. In other words, they had these groups that were like exclusive with each other, and they were kind of like little fiefdoms and they hated each other. So everybody didn't get along. You with me? So you had people that were cast out. But what happens? He goes up to the boarding school, and he said it was like. Remember, he told me it was like a what was that like a musical, or what'd you call it?
It was like a TV. It was like a...
Come up here. It was way better.
Yeah. Probably the one thing I think you're talking about was like, I don't know if y'all ever watched it, but Zoe 101. And it's like this ridiculous boarding school in California called Pacific Coast Academy, and they like, it's just like a TV show school. Like you walk around and there's like people like skateboarding down the sidewalk, which doesn't really happen in most public schools, and that's just kind of how it was. And like Tilton, I mean, it's crazy that you mentioned that now, because Tilton, where I went to school, was like, besides here, it's like the best community that I've been a part of. Like my friend from Japan, Tatsu, texted me this morning and said, "What are you doing this summer? Can I come over to North Carolina?" And he lives in Tokyo now. And like, I text my teachers like and say, "How you doing?" And like, even though I don't see them, it's still like a good community, and it's like very similar to how we are here.
You miss
like,
it.
Yeah, miss it.
To miss that society, because there's not many societies or communities like that. Because he said, I hate Western Alamance. I was like, I did too. I did not enjoy it. It was just because you had to watch your back, try to study. It was psycho, and then now you get in an environment like, or he gets to go up there to this boarding school called Tilton, and anyway, kind of cool. That when you do create that environment and that legacy, and then you get grades better, and all those kids win. We're going to keep talking about it because all those kids get in college. In Western Alamance, you're going to get, or typical public school, 10%, 5%. You know, that's what we're talking about. Good to have you here, Spencer Albright.
Thank you. So staying on the track of the fellowship it comes from this thing called association, which the root of association comes from affiliation. So let's look at affiliation. It's the first step, very first step, to making a connection with others, to create this thing called affiliation, this concept. This initial attachment, that's what it creates, to a group is best represented by social bonds. Now there's a theory that I had to study in college called social bond theory. And I would tell you to go look it up, but it's just, it's a hard read. It's not fun stuff to read. And then Travis Hirschai came up with this thing. He said there were 4 social bonds, and I've worked them into the paragraph, okay? I've got all 4 there. The first one is called the rule of attachment. So therefore, attachment is selective affiliation as a consequence of the development of a social bond. So you make a selection of who you want to attach yourself with. In other words, affiliation is an engagement process. You're engaging with others due to the social cues being interpreted during the interaction. So now, we have to pick up on cues when we're talking to people and let them pick up on our cues. And social bonding will not occur if these cues are misconstrued. If people misunderstand the cues and they think you mean one thing and you mean another, it can break down the interaction, right? Because a lot of times we misread people. They're thinking they're bored because they scratch their head too much, or they look up and that's just some nervous tick they got. And we're thinking, well, maybe I should just end this. The moral here is first impressions matter. Yes, they do. And they ignite future bonding. Future bonding comes from this thing called attachment. First impressions matter. I like this story. When asked by a reporter, I thank Mac Hefner for this because he found this. When asked by a reporter why he ran out all fly balls, Joe DiMaggio said, because there's always some kid who may be seeing me for the first time and I owe him my best. Now, see, that type of commitment, there's the second bond, commitment, is another element of social bonding. It refers to our acceptance and willingness to adhere to those societal expectations. Now, that's a big one. A lot of times we want to attach ourselves to a community, but we don't want to commit ourselves to it. So a lot of people come and go here because the commitment is, we all going to work. I'm depending on you to work, you depend on me to work. We're all in this together. I mean, everybody needs to put their best foot forward. Affiliation within a healthy community drives the third bond, which is called involvement. Yet another element. This type of participation in conventional lines of activity requires giving up your time to do only conforming activities. Now, you all don't know, that's a lot of words, but it means a lot to me because I had a friend. He had 2 daughters. He says, Jeff, I don't want to have them to end up in trouble or in jail, and I want you to tell me what I can do. I introduced him to Travis Hirschai's 4 bonds. And this is one of the ones he really got into. He made sure his girls stayed involved in something. Either they were working after school or they were in sports. Even if they wasn't good at the sport, they played 4 sports in a year, every year. And they were only good at one of them. But he said, hey, I don't want an idle mind going on. And that's what we do. We get people involved in selling insurance. If you sell enough insurance and you do this thing right, you ain't got time to do bad things. That true statement?
Yes, sir.
But this involvement must be driven by the last element, which is called belief. You got to believe what I'm saying. This is the acceptance of the conventional values and the roles of our society. You must accept what's coming out of his mouth and believe it to be true because he's already lived it. And if you struggle with that, you're not going to get the other 3. The affiliation quote I got here from Simon Sinek: unhealthy cultures create addiction. What kind of addictions he's talking about? Drugs, alcohol, all kinds of things, bad things. But healthy cultures create social bonds, the 4 that I've talked about.
Hold on.
Oh, you want to go back to that?
Yeah. Well, here's what I want to do.
Good job.
I want to get you in the so attachment is the first one. Commitment is number 2. And involvement and belief. So if you want your age, this guy that you say, how do I get a person to sell? How do I get a person to build a business? Get them in the community. Get them in the community. This is just get them there.
That's right. That's
somebody
good.
said, I'm going to pick him up and take him to the hot spot. I'm going to attach him to the hot spot. I will meet you there. Let's get something to eat and let's go. You're attaching them. The goal is that they get committed, but you are going to commit. Well, you show people an example. Then you've got the involvement. And so when you see me get people up and let them say their name, or when we go around in a circle, when I do a hot spot, I will let every new person say their name at the beginning. It changes their world because they're involved in the meeting. And if I ask them a couple questions, and I've had speaking coaches say, don't do that. And I go, what do you know? That is, I don't care, I'm not listening to you. That's what you do. And then over time, their belief grows. So when they believe enough, they'll start to take action. So you're trying to get them to do something crazy. All I'm trying to get them to do is go to the meeting. All I'm trying to do is get them to listen to the conference call. I'm doing something easy. You're trying to get them to write business. I'm trying to get them to go to the meeting. You're trying to get them to go write business. Getting somebody to go write business is hard. Getting them to go to the meeting is easy. You get them to do the business in a meeting, they'll eventually do the business. That's why I don't get mad at people as long as they're going to the meetings. I know they're eventually going to figure it out. That's why I say we have a 100% success rate. We've never had anybody fail that didn't quit. The only people we've ever had fail is people that quit going to the meetings and quit listening to the audios and quit reading the books. If they quit associating, if they quit the community, they're going to lose. They stay in the community, they're 100% going to win. That's why we bust our butt to get people to just hang around and just love on them. That's right. Does that make sense? Yeah. Tie in, that's
huge. And listen here, to add on to that, once we get people believing, then you can go back, then you can get people to practice attachment, commitment, and involvement. And then they'll be believers, and then they circle back and they do the 3 again. So it just repeats itself.
This is back to when people say, I'm focusing on recruiting. No, you're not. Because when you are, you give up your time to only conform to the activities. No, conforming activities. Money. In other words, when a person gives up their time to only conforming activities, they're not wasting time. Does that make sense? So the more they come to the meetings, the more they conform to productive activities, as opposed to unconformity, which they're doing stupid stuff with their life.
Exactly.
It's huge, Terry.
All right, now we go to the second part of the blueprint is unity. We had fellowship, and now we're going to drive depth with unity, or as Rick James, Dave Chappelle would say, unity. I had to do that, Terry. Unity. That's just funny to me. Okay. Yeah, it's funny.
Do some of us know what he's talking about?
Yeah, some people do. Some people do.
As long as somebody does.
He did that ring. Unity! Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. And so every time I see that, I think about that. The state of being one, that's what unity means. This oneness builds a feeling of belonging to a common community. This feeling is what we call, and what I keep saying all the time, my word, collective we. We're a collective we. It removes the pressures of how to navigate the terrain of the unfamiliar climate by providing a roadmap, which we do, laced with shared expectations. That's what we do here. We provide you a roadmap that behind it is our message of shared expectations. That's what creates the collective we. And it takes the unknown out, how to navigate this thing. We've got a roadmap. And that'll help you understand how to participate in the collective we. These expectations both accelerate and transform this concept of unity. When everyone in the organization works toward a common collective goal, it creates a sense of unity. Everyone must be focused on achieving the same type of objectives. The same type of objectives, and have a firm understanding of the contributions of their efforts to the success of this business. I said it a while ago. All of us together make the collective we. Not just a few of us, all of us. And what you're doing when you take a break affects the collective we. We're all counting on you when you leave a convention to do your best. Because if I'm doing my best, I want to think that you're doing your best. We're all carrying the same weight. All right. Y'all didn't say nothing to that, but this type... all these you know stuff.
That was good.
This, yeah, don't patronize me. All right. So, this type of environment is created in our business. I think that's what we have. When our uplines issue clear directives and define the goals for their downline. That's when it happens. But if we leave people to their own discretion, it's not going to happen. People don't get it just because you say it one time to them, or twice or three times. When everyone is aware of the shared expectations and is committed to modeling a behavior, then and only then will unity produce a quality and productive outcome. I couldn't find the author of this, but we all can work, but together we win. Everybody can sit there and work, but if we are in it together, we all win because we're all taking care of each other. That's what makes us a community, because we're taking care. I want you to win as much as I want myself to win. We're not all little separate worker bees. We have, we want to we root for each other.
It's a team sport.
It's a team sport.
People think writing insurance is an individual thing. It's a team sport. With our community, there are hot spots. If you see these hot spots, they said, all right, somebody wrote 10 grand, somebody wrote 5, somebody wrote 4, somebody wrote 2, somebody wrote 1. What if it was 10, 9, 8, 7, 6? What if it was 32 of you wrote business? It's a team sport, not an individual. We had one guy kill it. We need everybody doing something in the community to win. That's where we create unity.
All right. Unity comes from a mission-based society. Mission-based means the process to create a mission-based community involves distilling a message attached to a cause. It comes from having a cause. And yes, we have a cause. Make a difference. That's our cause. A cause drives awareness, buzz, and action, seemingly sweeping up everyone in its path. The cause, that's what a cause does. Its origin is usually orchestrated. Yes, we orchestrate a cause because we create a thing called GSB, right? That's orchestrated. He came up with that, and the people put it into action. We have paperwork and all the things we have to do to issue those checks. That was orchestrated. But the emotional appeal is normally organic, which that comes from the emotion we feel after we get the check and we give it away. That's what keeps the cause alive, not the orchestration. We can create good ideas all along, but if people are not emotionally attached to them, all the orchestration is not going to work. Organically, it is something people get passionate about on a deeply personal level. While there are passionate followers for almost every mission out there, there's passionate people that get involved in the GSB. There's even a larger group at the top and the bottom who've moved back and forth between these, what I call cause backers in the middle. So what I'm saying is, and he drew it on the pyramid, but I'm saying that you want to show them what I'm talking about?
I think I do. All right. So the organization usually looks like it. Michelle,
here's a pen.
I got you. You got your Michelle Alleman, Bill Cook, Sarge up at the top, and then you got a ton of people down here at the bottom that are doing 1. Okay? So all these people doing 1, these people doing 30. So you got a lot of people that are writing between 5K and 15K. So these are the middle people that he's talking about. These are the guys at the bottom that are just doing a little bit or nothing, and then the people that are killing it. This is the middle world.
Yeah. And so I'm saying is the cause backers are people that get emotionally attached to a cause and get involved in GSB are this middle group. Because the bottom are sitting there going, they're skeptical of our community still. And the top are getting comfortable.
And here's what Jeff said. Jeff said, you know what I'm going to tell him, don't you? Jeff said, we have got to do something about these people right here. These people. And I said, Jeff, we do not need, I'm not worried about these people. I'm not worried about these people right here. He said, what do we need to do? I said, all we got to do is. That's all we got to do. Now the middle's bigger. Does that make sense? All you got to do is do this number right here, and the middle keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you still have these people doing nothing. Does that make sense? Yep. Yeah, it's just one more. So what you do is you just grow that right there. Does that make sense? Not doing too good with the eraser here. I know we need a. We don't have any new pages, Bill. If you create me some new ones, that would help a lot.
Yeah, that's kind of stuff they don't teach you in schools, right? You know, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm just looking at what I see, and I'm thinking what to do, and he's like, well, just slide it over.
You with me? You gotta.
That's some tricky stuff right there.
So you got your pyramid here. You got your pyramid here, and you say, I want to grow these people down here, and I go, no, just do this right here, and just keep growing it like that right there, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger in the middle. And that way you don't get mad at people. What you do is you hire more new people to do nothing, and a person that's been there for 6 months will start doing something. But if you don't bring in more people doing nothing, then the nothings stay the same. So now it's a way of not having stress and not getting enemies.
That's tricky.
It's very tricky.
Yeah.
I like it.
You should be able to move the whole thing up. You got it? You where you want to be?
No. I was trying to look for the last red mark. Oh, there it is. Is that where I was at?
There you go.
Yeah. All right, so I say that I call these people at the top and the bottom, I call them swing members, or you would refer to them in politics, swing votes, right? They're not affiliated to either party. They don't feel hardcore connection to the cause, but could be compelled to join. The bottom the bottom that he's talking about, moving them over, those are the people we want to join, and then we want the top to reconnect or rejoin. That's what I was trying to instill in this little bit right here. The insight is that these people want to be part of a community. Yes, they do. The top and the bottom both want to be a part of it. But they also now want the spotlight on them as individuals at the same time. So the organization that creates a platform where it allows people to harness both at the same time. They can be in a community, but they can also be a flower in the community that gets its essential sunshine. The mission quote is, mission is about people, not projects. When you might make things about projects, then people don't stick around.
We'll add a quote to that when it goes in the book. People move products. Product don't move people. So the more people you bring to the convention, the more products we're going to move. So the mistake that people make is they think, let's go find the people in the meeting. Let's see if we can get the. Okay. We can. They say let's do this. Let's take the people in the meeting, these people in the meeting, and let's teach them the products better. I say, get more people, and we'll move more products. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly.
Because a community that involves everybody, including the ones that are doing nothing. We let them feel like they're a part of it. They're going to help bring more people. And when we bring more people, we're going to move more product. Now, and people, you just announced you was going to bring a new product to the game. Yes, we're bringing a new product to the game July 1. People are going to move that product. Right. The product is not going to move the people. Right. But it don't mean you don't have to have a great product. We got a great product.
All right, so I said that all right. So, all right, we're at unity, mission. At the bottom, mission-based community comes from an allegiance to that mission. The loyalty of a member to their organization by embracing the existing culture. This dedication is an act of binding oneself intellectually and emotionally to a course of action. It's not just important that you get it emotionally, you got to understand it intellectually to be bound to it. This level of commitment comes from a place where members feel an obligation to owe a loyalty debt. That's where you want to get people. You want to get people in here and then they stick around long enough, they're like, hey, I want to pay back the debt. And how do you pay back the debt? Several ways. You bring other people along and introduce them to this concept, because you don't want to only be the one that gets rich. We're not selfish in this organization. This type of support is only realized when the members understand and accept the beliefs, which our beliefs is PI, our core values that we're doing this whole series on, our norms, which is the behaviors that we expect of people, and that's going to be part of the book, and the roles, which are basically the rules of engagement of how we do business as insurance agents. The defining qualities of an insurance agent, basically your job description, if you want to call it that. That's what makes up culture. Beliefs, values, norms, and roles. That's the definition of a culture. Sharing a common culture is the secret sauce of any community. If once we share this culture with others and they get our values, they get our norms, they get our roles, then they will be a part of this community forever. They won't leave this community. The Allegiant quote I've got here is, it's tricky. I got a one behind it I like better, and you all are going to like the one behind it better on the next page. But I had to put JFK in here because I like JFK, and he said, truth is a tyrant. I mean, truth is not forgiving. The truth is saying, hey, I'm not listening to your crap anymore. The truth is the truth. There's no arguing the truth. And it's going to be like a bear to you. It's going to put a lot of pressure on you. The only tyrant to whom we can give our total allegiance to is the truth. The service of truth is a matter of heroism. You're a true hero when you're a service to the truth. That's not the one is that the one? No, I got a better one somewhere else. But this is the one I wrote. I wasn't saying that because of me. I got one that I like better. It's coming up. But I do kind of like this one, since I made it up. An allegiance to your future is not possible if your past is your present. What happened? Is that the one I was doing? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I stuck it right there or not.
Is that out of order?
It's out of order. I think it goes with this one. It goes with this one. We'll have to come back to it. Yeah. So now we're on the third section of the blueprint. We've done fellowship, unity. Now we're on identity. Identity. The ability to remain the same and one with yourself. And the message you stand behind is what you need to marry yourself to. So I am a believer in me, but I'm also a believer in what I stand for. I married the two together. This singular purpose embraces our uniqueness, at the same time promotes our place in the greater whole. So yes, I want you to be an individual and celebrate that, but I want you to be an individual and be married to the greater whole. You're an individual within the greater whole, what we call the alliance. It is part of the person's self-conception and self-perception. Accepting oneself allows one to find fit, that's what identity is about, and placement on a team where there is a sense of possibility, a sense of hope. That's all people want. It is this need for possibility which feeds one's identity. So the identity quote that I've got here, which I do like this quote, and it's kind of deep, but it says it all, what I just said, in a quote. Now read along with me, and then let's look at the most important part. That is, the entity, talking about us, may know itself to be itself and part of the whole. So we know that we're part of the whole because we know we're part of this organization. Not the whole, but one within the whole, and thus retaining its individuality, knowing itself to be itself. What it's saying is, you are not the whole. You're just somebody within the whole. It's like Chick-fil-A says, you are not bigger than Chick-fil-A. Every employee understands that from day one. You are part of this organization, but you're not bigger than this organization. Is that too harsh? Okay, but here's...
It's
oh,
huge,
crap.
though. You had to go backwards. Yeah.
There we go.
It's huge because if you don't accept yourself as like a person, like you're a good person, you can do this, you're no help to the team. But if you accept yourself, you're a big help to the team, but you're still not the only thing. So it's being healthy and being part of a team, both. So it's that's what makes it so, that concept so wild. But so it's like a guy that comes in and writes $5 grand and $5 grand a week, but yet he helps set up the chairs, he helps get the food, he's a team player even though he's killing it. That's a healthy person.
And Jeff Tilley, this is what breaks up bands, right? One person, the ego gets bigger than the other three, and they break up, and they don't perform at the induction of their Hall of Fame.
Yes, that's how you have a legendary team. Is when everybody says, "I'm part of a team, but I'm going to do my part. I'm going to do my best." Or Joe DiMaggio, "I'm going to run out pop-ups." With me? Listen, winning this trip is part of the team. And some people say, "I don't know if I deserve to go." Like, whoa, 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 whoa. No, you're part of the team. You got to go. So then they perform to help the team, not to help themselves. But then they get to go to Paris. So it's just like, it just keeps spinning. That's how we go to $1 billion, that kind of spinning like that.
Yeah, when you just go to work to help yourself and not the team, then you are participating with where I came from, corporate America. And that's what they do. We're not a team there. We were all there to get our paycheck. And that was it. We could care less about each other. I like this quote to kind of sum up what we're talking about, an identity and liking who you are, from Carrie Bradshaw from the last episode of Sex and the City. This is the last statement that was made before that went off the air. After 20 years, this is the last actual script that was read by Carrie Bradshaw. There are those relationships that open you up to something new and exotic. Those that are old and familiar. Those that bring up lots of questions. Those that bring you somewhere unexpected. Those that bring you far from where you started. And those that bring you back. But the most exciting, challenging, and significant relationship of all is the one you have with yourself. And if you can find someone to love the you love, well, that's just fabulous. Y'all remember that, some of you? Oh, yeah. All right, we're going to what drives identity is identification. Self-identification is how you see yourself. How you see yourself. How you look when you look in the mirror. What do you see? Most of us see ourselves through our status. That's how we see ourselves. That's how we view ourselves. Some perspectives on status emphasize that status is fixed and it's also fluid at the same time. A fixed status is what we call an ascribed status in sociology. You have no choice in the matter. It's what you are born into, or what you're born with, the attributes you have. I'm a white male. I can't do anything about that. So, I was born in a certain part of the United States. I can't go back and do that over again. Those are ascribed statuses. They are fixed for an individual at birth. But achieved statuses, you can do something about that status. It's determined by social rewards, and an individual acquires those during a lifetime as a result of what? Their ability and perseverance. Those two things create achieved status. So yeah, I went and got a degree or a couple degrees. Those are my achieved statuses, or some of them, right? We all got those lists of things we can put on a resume. The status that is most important to an individual is called a master status. That's what you're most proud of. That's what you lead off with. You know, a lot of times when Andy introduces me to visitors, he leads off with his perception of my master status, which he says he used to be a VP at the community college. That's how he introduces me. That's the master status, right?
Yep.
That's right. The master status fundamentally identifies the lens through which an individual shapes their perceptions of self and society. It's how you see yourself. Whatever your master status is, that's the lens you look through, is the master status lens. It is how you see others in the society. So, look at this. If not careful, it can flood out all other aspects of a person's identity. The designation becomes a hindrance to the development of other possible achieved statuses. If you're not careful, you will rest on your laurels and ride that master status to the very ends. You will not try to achieve. A lot of people get caught up in nicknames, or they live in their past, and they want to refer to themselves of their past achieved statuses, which they have attached themselves and called them master statuses. Instead of looking past the master status, shed that and let's get another master status. You know people like that? They're living in the past, man. Quit living in the past. What I used to be, right, Terry? What I used to be.
Hold on.
Yep.
So, I took a few minutes. We were talking about it. There's three. There's three worlds that you live in. Some people get stuck in this one. Some people get stuck here. In other words, they don't. Like, I'm a redneck, and they just stay a redneck. You with me? Like he said, I'm a white male, or then they stick with, I'm a white male, as in, I was trying to do what white males do. There's no achievement status. And then there's other people that get stuck here, like, I got a GED. Their master status, I got a GED, and they get stuck right there with that status. Or, I'm an agency manager. I'm an agency manager. Like, you know you're not supposed to stay an agency manager. You understand that life is supposed to be headed up. Your society is supposed to be going up. You're not supposed to pick one of these and get stuck. So a good identification is, yes, I was born this way. Yes, I've achieved this. Yes, I got this designation. And then here we go again. It's what Gene Simmons from KISS said, when you've reached the pinnacle of success, start over.
That's right.
Don't get stuck on that pinnacle of success, and you finally got your GED, or you finally got your high school degree, or you finally got your master's degree. Don't get stuck right there. Keep going for it. That way you stay happy, you have a healthy identification, healthy self-worth, and we continue to explode this thing.
And at the college, everybody always asks me, because at the college, everybody carries their master statuses around with them. You know what they do? They put it on a wall, all their degrees. And you go in their office, it's right there. They want you to see how smart they are. And I want you to know, in 30 years, my degrees are still in a frame in my closet at home. I never hung them on my wall. You'll never see them here, because I don't want to talk about that anymore. That's what I did. It's not what I'm going to do. It's what I did. All right, and so we got to move. I'm trying to move up here. All right. Identification quote. Ego means self-identification with thinking. To be trapped in thought, which means to have a mental image of me based on thought and emotions. So ego is there in absence of a witnessing presence. Yeah, that's big. That's big. Now, you know, what is a witnessing presence? I mean, do you know who you are? But are who you are what you've done, and you want people to praise that? Is that what you want emotionally? To get people to pat you on the back? Or your witnessing present is looking past what you see in the mirror and what you could be? I mean, that's a little deep, I know. But anyway, I'll put it up there. All right, the last part, the root of identification is this thing called distinctiveness. From the old French word distinctive, like that, how it's spelled like that, T-I-F, meaning markedly individual. In other words, to become distinguishing is to become an individual. This quality constitutes one's, the term is selfhood. The construction of selfhood is when you first realize your intention and take action as a person with a role to fulfill and a purpose to accomplish. This is when you are able to avoid saying, "Why me?" And you graduate and start saying, "Why not me?" This is the process of becoming comfortable in your own skin. And it's difficult. Very difficult. But that's what I wish for all of you. It's just to be comfortable in your own skin. Whatever you see in the mirror, all the wrinkles, the warts, whatever, those are like badges of courage. And you look past that. Your witnessing presence is past what you see in the mirror. You look past that mirror. Here's the quote from Don Henley of the Eagles. He responded to this. This was said to him in a Rolling Stone magazine. He got into debate with Neil Young from Ohio. A lot of us Southerners don't like Neil Young, especially Leonard Skinner. But that's a whole other story for another day. Don Henley got into a battle with him, and this was Neil Young's statement. It is better to burn out than it is to rust. Now, that's not, I mean, I'm not opposed to that, but he was talking about, at that time, he was talking about the punk rock movement. And Don Henley had an issue with the punk rock movement. And they were debating about that. So I want you to give the context of that argument. But this, I like what Don Henley said about being comfortable in your own skin. He says, "I don't see rust as a bad thing. I have an old 1962 John Deere tractor that is covered with rust, but it runs like a top. The inner workings are just fine. To me, that rust symbolizes all the miles driven and all the good work done, all the experiences gained. From where I sit, that rust looks pretty," and he said, actually he's put, "pretty damn good." I just left that out. We got a lot of people that come to us, and they got some rust on them. But it don't define it doesn't define who I am. I'm a 56-year-old man chronologically, but there's some years left on me. I've got some good things I can still do, you know. And this place gives you a safe place to bring your rust and still be productive. All ages. All ages.
What's that guy in the movie? He goes, Sling Blade. What's the guy's name?
Billy Bob Thornton.
Billy Bob Thornton. I just saw another movie, Billy Bob Thornton, and there was this guy went rogue, and he had to go track him down and bring him back. And Billy Bob Thornton's face is what he's talking about right there. You know, everybody, you don't, if you ever stop and look at him, I mean, he got some rust. You know it. I mean, next time you see him, you'll be like, son of a gun, that guy got all kinds of creases, and you don't care. You love the heart of that character that he brings to the show. Does that make sense? So each individual that comes to our hot spot, we're looking at the heart of the engine, not the rust on the bottle. Oh, that's a different song. It might be a little rust on the bottle.
Hey,
Huh? Dust. Might be a little dust on the bottle.
Andy, I want to tell that bear story.
Huh?
I want to tell that bear story.
You want to tell the bear story?
Yeah, I'll tell the bear story. So, to think about this last one, distinctiveness, I think about the story about a bear, all right? So these two gentlemen, they got training on how to survive if a bear ever attacks them. Yeah, I mean, well, they tell you to lay down, right? Well, they told one guy to lay down.
Oh, that's what they say.
That's what they say. They told this one guy to lay down. So the bear comes out of the woods. Man remembers his training. He lays down. Don't move. The other guy takes off running. And the guy screams at him, "Why are you running? They didn't tell us to run." That's not what they did in the training. They said to lay down. He goes, "I'm trying to survive here. All I got to do is stay ahead of you." And if you want to practice this, you got to stay ahead of the other people. Just one step ahead. Distinguish yourself as that person that's going to be ahead of the person that's behind you laying down. There's a lot of them out there laying down.
This is you. You're already successful. You're fine. You live in America. You can live in a single wide trailer, get you a big hot tub, get you a widescreen TV wide as your trailer is. You got indoor, hot and cold running water. That'll put you in the top 1% of over 7 billion people on Earth.
Right.
I know. You're already rich. That's why when people say, like, I don't understand why I'm not growing and why I'm not getting big. Okay? You're laying down when somebody else is running. See, to get rich, all you got to do is run faster than the people that are laying down. See, you're rich. And I'm rich. AA's rich. But what you see is I've got a Ferrari and a Lamborghini. If you take the people that don't have cars and compare to them, you're rich. Does that make sense? So it's not the fact, I mean, you're already rich. It's the fact here, I'm just going to cut through it. That's why. I'm not rich. I'm just richer than you. Does that make sense? So Paul Roberts buys that brand new Corvette. He's not richer than you. I mean, he's not. You're rich and he's rich. He's just richer. And so what you're thinking is, I want to be richer. All you got to do is do. You don't have to change the rust on your face. You don't have to change the wrinkles. And if you're 18, you don't have to become 30. And if you're 60, you don't have to become 18. Because what it all matters is inside that circle of you, if you do. What's on the outside, these wrinkles, don't matter. It's what you do. And when I'm telling y'all, I get cold chills today. When I was mentored and the guy said, "Bro, it don't matter what anything that happens. You fat, tall, short, white, black. When you get in a program, that all that matters is what you do." And I went, "My, thank God, because I ain't but 5'11", and I can't jump that high, and I can't file for this, and I can't do that." I got no advantage. That I got. You know what I mean? I wasn't born rich. My daddy's not the president of the United States, or he wasn't the president of a corporation. I had no advantage. The only thing I could claim for is I said, "I'm willing to do." I got so excited when it said that's what it matters. Didn't matter my vocabulary, my genius, my brightness, just my do. I was like, "Oh, thank God I'm in something that my do matter." And now when everybody else is laying down, I'm going to make one more text, one more phone call, one more referral, one more child policy. I'm going to move one more annuity. I'm going to recruit one more person. I'm going to make one more last minute call. I'm going to one more you to death, baby. I'm going to one more you. And I'm going to outrun you. I'm going to outwork you. Not outsmart you. I'm going to work you. You killed it, Jeff. Give Jeff a hand. Killed it. Community, baby. The Alliance community. We'll see you soon. Love you. Bye.